Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up a first game of Oath. Now the reason that I'm being specific that this will be a first game setup is Oath is a game that I don't know how to explain it. It's not really a campaign and it's not really a legacy, but essentially it's a game where you play it the first time and then aspects of the way that the game ends will roll over into the second game, and so it would affect the second game setup, and then whatever happens in the second game is going to affect your third game setup, and so on. So on my channel, usually I do a setup video and then a gameplay video. I'm going to be following that here, but I'm going to be doing the first game setup. I'm going to play through the first game, including the pre-scripted first turns that happen in the rulebook, and then I'll just play the game like normal. And then I'm going to do a third video where I show you how to clean up and set up for the next game after that. So that's kind of what you're into. This is the first video. We're going to be setting up the first game, even to the point where I haven't unwrapped the cards because I just plan on following the rulebook structure. So let me go ahead and lift this up. And if you can't tell, the length and width of this box is almost Gloomhaven size, but it's definitely a lot thinner than one of those. But if you're curious how big that box is, it's pretty big, but it's skinnier. All right, so as we open this up, I mentioned earlier that I do have some things still wrapped in its plastic, but I also did unwrap some stuff. So here we have two different rule books, kind of like the game Root, made by the same company. It's going to have kind of a rule book that has pictures, and this one specifically kind of helps you learn the game as you're going through for your first time. And then there's a secondary rulebook called the Law of Oath, and that rulebook has like very few pictures, basically just here for the setup. And after that, it almost looks like scripture, the way that they've just broken down the rules, so you can just really quickly find what's the actual rule, what's the law of this game. There are several of these player aids, basically. Let's talk about these ones first. This one will just kind of help you understand what the cards do. And then down here you've got a rule of use. That's going to be like different cards are going to use different words that will be useful to know there. And then on the back side it's going to have a reference because different locations will have different powers. And combat in this game is called a campaign. So this is a little confusing. But basically a campaign is an attack. The reason I say that is because lots of times as I was reading the rulebook, I got confused because in my brain this is kind of a campaign game. So I thought this campaign summary was telling you how to roll over your games. No, campaign is their word that they use for attacking or fighting within the game. And it's quite a complicated process, so that's essentially what they have listed right here. Okay, so campaign summary is not about the rolling games. That's actually explaining how attacks happen, and you can see there's quite a lot. Over here, this is going to be how you roll your games over from one to the next. On the back side, this is actually going to help you if you wanted to play solo or add a third bot character to a two-player game. That's what this helps you with. And same thing with this. The Clockwork Prince is this bot that can be added to a one or two player game. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and move those off the table. And let's look at what else we've got here. We have this board called the Imperial Reliquary. And we're going to save this for one of the players. We're actually going to use this, I'll show you in a second, for one of the players. So let me just hold on to that off screen. And it's going to be for the Chancellor character. So this purplish color is going to be important. That's essentially going to be stuff assigned to the Chancellor. So I'm going to be basically setting this character up like this. This game is asymmetrical, but not like Root. Essentially, the Chancellor is going to be the person currently ruling the land. They'll be playing the same game as everybody else, but they will have some differences with them. And then you're going to have all of your other characters. So it's not like four totally different characters. It's basically one character and then everybody else. And everybody is facing off against each other. My clarity here is stunning. Okay, other than that, you're going to have a whole bunch of exiles. Like this. Okay, so you're going to see on one side of the board it'll say exile. On the other side of the board it will say citizen. Just like that. Okay, so in your first game, The rule book is going to recommend, no matter how many people are playing, probably keep it to 4 or fewer. But you're going to want to, you always have to play with the Chancellor, and then it recommends that you play with the red, blue, and the yellow players. And I'm pretty sure that they go in that order: red, blue, and the yellow. So even if you're playing with fewer players, they recommend that you set those characters up, and then after you've done the first walkthrough turn, remove any excess people, and we're going to do that. Now, before I jump into the scripted parts, we could still keep pulling some stuff out of the box. Let's grab this mat out of the box. I'm pretty sure this is not just a Kickstarter mat, but don't quote me on that. I think this is what anybody would get. You can see I haven't even taken this out yet, out of the sleeve. Okay, so go ahead and take this, and I'm going to unroll it. And this is a very long but beautiful neoprene mat. And again, I can't say for sure if the regular version comes with a cardboard one or not. I'll research and then annotate it here. So we're going to go ahead and unroll that mat, whatever, and it will be there. And there are some pieces on the in the game that I've already punched out. So there were some punch boards, and I've sorted some stuff out. But basically, these kinds of pieces here, they say banded on one side, and then they have an icon here. Those icons will match these icons down there. These are for the solo mode, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove those. Mine came with this Oath Chronicle book, where I think you can write notes about what happens in each game. So not necessary, probably not in the regular version of the game. This is the Kickstarter version. You're going to have inside of your box a world box that you kind of have to assemble. This is going to be a storage box so that you can bring stuff from one game to the next. So they call it the world box. So right now it's totally empty. I won't need it until later. So I'll just move it off the camera. You can see here a whole pack of cards plus a bunch of dividers that I have already punched out of the punch board. Again, these will be useful between games, but for now they're not useful. This is going to be the locations or the sites in the game, and we're actually going to be starting by opening this thing first. You can see it's totally not open because I was going to just record my experience setting up a first game here. There are some other important cardboard pieces that I'll go ahead and take out for now before I start the scripted part. There's going to be this card called the Oath Keeper card, and this will be in every single game, and it's always going to start with the Chancellor, so I'm just going to hand that to the Chancellor for now. And then essentially every game is going to have one of 4 victory conditions. So one of these is going to be used in each game, and again I'll cover that in the 3rd video, but for the first game we're going to be using the Oath Keeper of Supremacy, ruling the most sites. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this one, put it on the table somewhere, and then the rest of these will go back in the box. You're also going to have these 2 banners, the banner of the people's favor and the banner of the darkest secret. And these are going to be used in each game, so I'm going to go ahead and take these and I'll just put them over by the Oath Keeper of Supremacy card. And I know, lots of words. Part of what makes this game a little bit tricky to learn is the vocabulary. It's got definitely some unique vocabulary. Okay, what else have we got? The game comes with this tray. Now, something that I did, because I often store my games vertically, this lid doesn't stay on very tightly. So all I did is I took a 1-inch strip of paper, and then I wrapped it around, and I taped it. So nothing fancy there, but by doing that, it's going to keep all of these pieces nice and secure, and they can tip without the lid coming off, which it does come off pretty easily. So that's one of my Tom Teaches amazing recommendations, I'm sure. But basically, inside of this, what you're going to do is store some coins, these secrets, or I guess these are called favors, secrets. These are battle dice. This is an endgame die. We'll talk about this in a little bit. We'll talk about this visions thing in a little bit. And this is our round tracker. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this tray on the table somewhere. And I should again say that this is the Kickstarter version. It came with metal coins and those wooden books, where a regular version of the game would come with cardboard versions of those tokens. Okay, let me just put these here on the mat for now, and then I'll show you a little bit later where all of those go. What else have we got? We've got the tokens for each player. So let me go ahead and hand this to the red player, this to the blue player, this to the yellow player. This is going to go to the Chancellor player. We'll show you everything that's in these bags a little bit later. And then we have these that we're not going to be using in this game. So basically the box is empty at this point. What you're going to see is these decks of cards, and you'll see that these card packets will kind of tell you when to flip them over. So why don't I go ahead and grab these and just kind of keep them out here. And then we do have these cards as well. I'll just kind of put these to the side just so we can get rid of the box. So here we are. I pulled the camera back just a little bit and kind of just shifted stuff so it looks a little bit cleaner. You can kind of see what we've got going on here. And all we've done at this point is just unpacked stuff. Again, things like this, they do provide these bags, but these pieces come in like bags that you have to rip open, and then I just put them, I just did that ahead of this video. So basically anything that wasn't cards, I kind of already opened and punched and prepared, getting ready for this video. Now, in the rule book, it's going to take you through exactly, oh yeah, so here's what you have in the game, and over here. It's going to take you through the fact that you can learn Oath as you're playing, like even during your first game, or you can learn it beforehand and teach. I have read this rule book several times, so in theory I know what I'm doing, but I'm also wanting to take you through what would happen if you were just going through this for the first time. And then you could see right here it says setup for the first game. And now that I've pulled all of the components out, I kind of plan on jumping in through this pre-scripted thing. I might go a little bit out of order from the way they do this just to make things feel a little more natural, but that is kind of the plan, is to kind of follow these rules, but specifically I'm going to start by opening packet A, and so that you can see how they have stuff set up. And then again, really quickly, before we jump into packet A, just so I can keep things kind of tidy, and even if I'm not going in perfect order, you're still going to see how to set up. Before we open packet A, let's just go ahead and put this round marker. It will always go here in the starred space. Starred things you're going to see are kind of like starting stuff. So we're going to put this here. This is our visions marker. That's going to go here, again on the starred space. And we're going to put this die over here on the first die space going around this way. So it goes right there. So with that done, let's go ahead and open up packet A and see exactly what order or the way that they've done this with the cards. You're experiencing this right along with myself. Again, I know how I would set this up, but I kind of want to take us on this journey. So here we go. We're going to open up packet A all together. And let's see what they tell us to do. First of all, it says unroll the map. Done. Take the 8 site cards under this card, put them on the map in the slots in the order shown below. The plains, mountains, and rocky coast. Okay, so this card really is kind of just taking you through what the rule book would be telling you as well, because that is exactly what the rule book says. But we're going to go ahead and take this, and what's it saying here? It says some sites are sites are locations around the map that you will travel to. So numbers 1, 2, and 3 need to be face up. The rest are going to be face down. And so we flip that up. That's the plains. It's going to go, oh, I'm off the map. I mean, off the camera. So yeah, the plains go right here. And then the next one is going to be the mountains. And then we have the rocky coast is going to go right here. As we're setting up, I'm going to just try to throw some tidbits. These sections are called regions, because you might want to call them locations. You know, again, the vocabulary of this game is tricky. So these are regions, and then these cards we're playing down are called sites. Okay, so then it's just telling us to put them down in this order. The rulebook does clarify exactly which cards we're putting face down, just in case you're nervous and want to make sure you get it right. But we'll just go ahead and keep following along with that. Okay, so that card is done. Let me go ahead and move it off camera. Next, put the purple pawn on the plains, the red and blue pawns on the mountains, and the yellow pawn on the rocky coast. Alright, so what that's saying is, you saw me hand each player this bag of pieces. Here, we'll go ahead and put that there. So we're going to go ahead and crack this thing open. And for the most part, what you're going to see is a bunch of like banner looking pieces. These are called war bands. And so for right now, we're just going to kind of move the war bands off to the side. Maybe we'll stack them. I don't know. And also, you're going to find a big, oh man, you're going to find a big chunky pawn. That's your character. So that is what they're talking about going to the board. So yeah, how about I don't make you watch this. I'll get these set up over here to the side. All of these war bands. We'll come back to those later. But for now, we want these pawns. The purple one on the plains, which you would probably stand up if you were playing a normal game, but where I'm doing an overhead camera, I'm going to go ahead and lay it down like that. And then we're going to take the red pawn and the blue pawn, and they go there, and then the yellow one goes over here. Next, it's saying find the 24 purple war bands. We just talked about those. Put 2 on the plains, 1 on the mountain, and 1 on the rocky coast. This is letting you know the warbands are your loyal followers that you'll use to campaign against your enemies and rule sites. So off camera, to spare us the boredom, I just went ahead and lined up all of these warbands for each character over there. And they're just saying basically take your warbands for this current step. They're telling us to take 4 of them. And 2 of them are going to go here in the plains, which is a part of the cradle region. And then 1 of them comes here in the mountains, which is a part of the provinces. And then over here in the hinterland, the rocky coast site. So essentially what these are doing is these are our loyal followers. We, as in the Chancellor, currently controls those 3 sites. And these warbands are going to be an indicator of that. So that step is done. We'll flip this over. It says put the round marker and the visions drawn marker on the first starred spaces of the round. We already did that. And then we're going to put 3 favor tokens in each of the 6 favor banks near the bottom edge of the board. So once again, vocabulary is kind of tricky. You'll hear me call these coins, but they're technically called favors. It's saying take 3 and put them on each of these spaces. But if you are playing with 5 or 6 players, which they don't recommend for your first game, you would put a 4th coin there. So that's kind of what the iconography is saying right there. So let me just grab a whole bunch of these and see how far we go. So there's 3, 1, 2, 3. I almost feel like I should have just used the cardboard versions of these for this video, just because they're such a bright yellow versus these. I mean, I love metallic coins, but metallic coins in video aren't always as clear. Okay. Next. Collect these pieces near the map. We have our 18 favor tokens. We have 20 secret tokens. Yes. Okay. And then we have the 10 attack dice, 6 defense dice, and 1 end die. Again, I think in the rule book it doesn't necessarily tell you to put this specific die right here, but it will make sense for gameplay. So that's where I keep it. And then over here you can see we've got our favor, we've got our dice, we've got our secrets. Flip that over. Okay, next it says collect these pieces near the map. We've already done that. We've got them up here. We'll be talking about those much later. Next, we're going to choose 1 player to play as the Chancellor. They sit on the short edge of the map near the cradle tile. So if this was a standard table situation, you would probably put the Chancellor right here, sitting facing that way near that spot. They take the Chancellor board and the Imperial Reliquary board. Yep, just as done earlier. Flip this over. Okay, so we're going to do the following. We're going to take 20 warbands. There we go. And we're going to put 3 on our board, and there's a reminder of starting items right here. So we're going to take these 3, and we put them on our board. I'll talk about this more in the gameplay video, but you can kind of imagine that anything on your board is people and stuff that is traveling along with your pawn on the map. So this might be warbands that we have access to, but these are the ones that are actually moving around with us. So we've got those 3 there. It'll say take 2 favor tokens and 1 secret. Again, that's kind of alluded to right here. So we're going to take 2 favors and 1 secret. And then it specifically tells us that we could put this Oathkeeper thing right here, and maybe that's the best place to put it. I might put it up here just because as I teach the game I'm going to be referring to the Chancellor, and so I don't want to cover up the word Chancellor because that can be confusing. And we're going to take this supply token, and you can see a star, which means that that's exactly where this one is going to start. Flip that over. Next, choose 1 player. Oh wait, we already did that one. Read the next card. This is telling us to seat 3 other players and give them the red, blue, and yellow exile boards. They sit in clockwise order around the map from the Chancellor, red, blue, yellow. So I've done that already. So in my video, I'll just go down the line. We've got our Chancellor, red, blue. That's specifically only important because they do talk you through the first round, what every character should be doing, and they do it in that specific player turn order. So next up, for each exile, we're going to do the following, and you can kind of see what it's telling us here. It's stuff that we've already learned based on what I told you about the iconography. But once I do that, then we're going to open up packet B. So we could go ahead and put this here. We need to take 3 of their war bands. That's what they'll be traveling around with. This is a spot on your board that will eventually hold a card, maybe. And so you could put these here, or however makes the most sense to you. But they're also going to start with 1 favor and 1 secret. So these are here, 3 war bands, a favor, and a secret. So I got my secret, my favor, put this here, 3 war bands. And before we open packet B, it did say right here, return all the remaining site cards to the box because they will not be used until future games. So there you go. Let's go ahead and open up pack B. I love these packs. Oh, I say it, and then I'm going to regret it. They have like a little pull tab. You could tell because it has that string there, you know. There we go. Packet B. They're doing a nice job here. Basically, like I said, it's just following the rule book. And we'll flip this card over. Next, put the next card in this packet. So that card right there, longbows face up next to the planes. So if we look, this should be the longbows. It is. It goes face up right there. Put the following 3 cards into the cradle discard pile. So each region is going to have their own discard pile, and this is saying don't mix it, don't do anything, just put those there. Flip this over. Put the next card in this packet, Taming Charm, face up by the mountain. Right there. Okay, that's not looking cute. There we go. And then I'm going to guess these are our discard pile. And then it's going to tell us one more time. We should have the Elders. We'll go next. And then we will have 5 cards in the discard pile. So haven't looked at these. These just go right there. Next. Give the following 4 cards to the players. All right, so these are probably going to be 4 cards. Here we go. I'm probably going backwards. So the Forest Paths is going to go to the Chancellor, and I'm pretty sure these go face down. Put it to the right of the board, face down. Okay. Now, before I get too serious about playing, I do realize that I'm going to have to kind of give some space, because there needs to be space for 3 cards to go to the side. But during the first turn, where they script everything out, I do need all 4 characters out. Then I'll remove the yellow player and spread things out a little bit better. But for now, we'll just kind of make it work. Next, put the remaining cards on the world deck space face down on the map. Now, I would guess that there would be shuffling in a normal game, but for all of the rest of these, they're just going to go right here. And these icons will have to do with setting up your second, well, tearing down your first game. Yeah, this kind of stuff happens as you're cleaning up for a game. Okay, we're going to go like that. They're going to slide a little bit. Ooh, there we go. All right, so we put the rest of them. Now we're going to go straight to packet C, which is this smaller deck here. So let me just go ahead and peel that open. And here we go, packet C. The Chancellor takes the Grand Scepter Relic card and puts it near their board. So that's kind of be a big theme with Oath is whoever the Chancellor is for the game, that's usually the player who won the last game, they will always take this Grand Scepter card that will give them huge magical powers that we will talk about a lot later. But that scepter could be taken by other players, and therefore other players might get this magical, powerful scepter. Then, next up, put the next relic card, Ivory Eye, near the mountain to the right of the Taming Charm face down. So what's happening here is when locations are revealed, you're going to usually look in this bottom corner here, and if it has a relic or if it has favor, stuff like that, you're going to actually go ahead and load a relic card face down in that spot. So that's why this is getting this spot. Normally we wouldn't see what that is, but that is just part of the instructions. So we're going to put it face down right there. Next, put the following 4 relic cards on the Chancellor's Imperial Relic. Oh, yeah, I suck at that word. reliquary in any order face down. So normally stuff gets shuffled. This is just telling us to take these. And this is like the one spot where maybe we have a little bit of variability in the first setup versus others. So I'll just kind of stick them out randomly like that. And then put the following 15 relic cards on the relic deck space of the map face down. And then we're going to be able to return to the playbook, because that does bring us to the end of setup. But I do realize, again, because I have read the rulebook a couple of times, I'm pretty sure it said this on one of the cards that I kind of skipped over a little bit. You should put one favor token on the banner of the People's Favor, and you should put one secret on this Book of Secrets over here. And yes, that was described on this card where it does tell you to do that, and I ignored it. Sorry. But either way, we've made it. We have set up our first game of Root. Now there are 3 more packets, and these cards will only come into play after you finish the first game. So this is going to be like, I imagine this is going to tell you exactly how to store all of the rest of these cards. Because what happens is, basically, we have this world deck right here, and some cards are going to come out of that, and some cards are going to go in, and that's how games are going to kind of evolve over time. So those 3 packets can just go back in the box for now, and here we are. We are ready to play. Now, that's the end of this setup video. As I mentioned before, I am going to do the scripted first turn for everybody, just so you can kind of experience that. But what I'm going to do before that is I'm going to try to explain as many of the rules as will make sense. In the rulebook, they actually do have full page explanations for that stuff right here. And I plan on just kind of like having this off screen to remind myself what I'm doing. But when I was reading through the rulebook, my first time through, when I was reading this, like I kind of got stuff, but also it was really overwhelming. Without having, like, I had to read the book a couple of times before I totally got what these were telling you to do and why. And so my plan is to just teach the game as I normally would, and then, as naturally as possible, I will go through the script for each player's first turn, and then I'm going to remove the yellow player and continue on like that. And then I will make a third video where I show you how to close up the first game, how you would set up your second game, and go from there. So if that was useful, wahoo, go ahead and check out my gameplay video if that interests you. You know what's going to be in there. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you later. Bye.